35 years ago, a simple love story changed the world. A businessman searching for success, a woman searching for herself. Together they found something neither expected: love. Now, decades later, destiny whispers their names once more. The city that once brought them together is calling again, because some fairy tales never really end. The camera glides through the glowing skyline of Los Angeles, the same city where their story began. The streets are brighter now, the rhythm faster, but somewhere beneath the noise, that same magic hums quietly. The screen fades into the soft echo of footsteps, elegant, confident, familiar. Julia Roberts' character, Vivian Ward, walks down Rodeo Drive once again. She's older now, wiser, yet her smile still carries that spark the world fell in love with. Her red hair glimmers under the streetlights, and for a moment, it feels like time hasn't moved at all. Vivian is no longer the woman she once was. After leaving the fairy tale behind, she built a life of her own, one filled with purpose. She now runs a small charity foundation that helps young women find independence, the kind she once dreamed of. Her laughter fills the room as she gives a speech to a group of bright-eyed girls. The crowd applauds, and her smile hides a quiet truth. Something still feels incomplete. The story that began on a boulevard long ago left a mark that never truly faded. Cut to a quiet high-rise office overlooking the city. Edward Lewis, played once more by Richard Gere, stands by the window, his silver hair catching the golden light of the sunset. He's retired from the corporate world that once defined him, selling off his empire years ago. Now he spends his days investing in projects that give back, trying to undo the damage of a career built on taking rather than giving. Yet, in his quiet moments, he still finds himself remembering one woman, the one who changed everything he believed about love. A soft piano melody plays as the film cuts between the two. Vivian at a cafe, sipping coffee, lost in thought. Edward at a park, watching couples laugh. Their lives have moved on, but their hearts still remember. The camera zooms in on a small, worn-out photograph, a picture of them from years ago. Edward keeps it in his wallet. Vivian keeps hers on her desk. They both pause, glance at the photo, and smile softly, unaware that destiny is about to bring them face to face once again. Narration begins, calm, nostalgic, filled with warmth. Sometimes love doesn't fade. It hides in the corners of time, waiting for one more chance. Maybe it's not about where life takes you, but who it leads you back to. The background music swells gently as the city transitions from day to night. Neon lights flicker, cars rush past, and a single raindrop lands on Edward's window. He looks out, thoughtful. Somewhere across town, Vivian does the same. The rain begins to fall, the kind of cinematic rain that washes away the years and sets the stage for something new. The scene cuts to an elegant envelope sliding through Vivian's mail slot. She picks it up curiously, breaking the seal. Inside is a gold-embossed invitation. Her eyes widen as she reads, "Charity Gala, hosted by Edward Lewis Foundation." She freezes, her heartbeat echoing faintly under the soft background score. The world seems to go silent for a moment. The past, everything she thought she'd left behind, suddenly feels closer than ever. The camera slowly pans out as Vivian sets the invitation down, her reflection visible in the window. Half her present self, half the young woman she used to be. The voiceover returns, whispering like a memory. Fate doesn't ask for permission. It simply waits for the right moment to bring two souls home. The music rises into a swell of emotion. The screen fades to black with the words, "Pretty Woman 2, Destiny Reunites Them. Coming soon." The night sky above Los Angeles glows like a canvas of memories. The camera glides over the Beverly Hills skyline, where soft jazz music drifts from a luxurious ballroom filled with laughter, crystal lights, and the sparkle of designer gowns. The Edward Lewis Foundation Charity Gala has begun, a night meant to celebrate generosity, but for two souls, it's about to become something far deeper. The doors of the grand ballroom open. Vivian Ward steps inside, dressed in an elegant crimson gown, a quiet nod to the iconic red dress from their past. Time seems to bend around her. The crowd turns, admiring her grace, unaware of the story she carries within. She clutches the small, clutch purse tighter, her heart racing. Every step feels heavier, not from nerves but from the weight of memories. Across the room, Edward Lewis is greeting guests, his familiar charm tempered by years of wisdom. His laughter fades when he catches sight of her. The music lowers, almost fading to silence as the camera focuses on his stunned expression. The woman he never stopped thinking about, the one who once changed his world, is standing just a few feet away. His breath catches, his eyes soften. For a moment, it's as if 30 years vanish in an instant. The narration begins softly. Some reunions are planned by chance, others by destiny. But the rarest ones, they happen when the heart is finally ready. Vivian sees him. The world seems to stop spinning. Their eyes meet, one long, silent second filled with everything they never said. Her lips tremble into a soft smile. His expression turns from shock to warmth. The orchestra swells as their past flashes before the screen. The limo ride, the opera, that smile in the hotel elevator. Then the moment breaks. Someone calls Edward's name, pulling him back. Vivian turns away, pretending to study the paintings on the wall, her heart pounding. The years have changed them both, but something still connects them. That invisible thread time could never cut. Later, as the night winds down, Edward finds her standing on the balcony overlooking the city. The rain has stopped, and the streetlights shimmer like tiny stars. For a few seconds, he hesitates. Then he steps closer, his voice calm but gentle. Edward softly, "I thought I'd imagined you." Vivian smiling, "I thought you'd forgotten." Edward, "Not a chance." The silence that follows says more than words ever could. They both laugh, awkward, tender, real. The years melt away as they stand side by side, looking at the city that once brought them together. Vivian tells him about her foundation, how she helps young women find independence, dignity, and opportunity. Her eyes shine with pride. Edward listens quietly, realizing she has become the very dream he once believed in. He confesses that he's dedicated his wealth to causes that matter. Not profits, but people. It's clear they've both changed, grown, and found their purpose. But as they talk, there's still something unspoken between them. The conversation slows. The music fades. Their smiles linger longer than they should. Edward, "You've done well, Vivian." Vivian, "So have you." Looks like we both learned to climb without the ladder. They share a soft laugh, one filled with bittersweet understanding. The camera zooms in on their faces, highlighting the warmth in their eyes, the lines of time, and the quiet connection that refuses to fade. The narration returns. They built new lives. They found new meanings. But love, true love, doesn't live in the past. It waits in the silence, between what was and what could be. The scene fades to slow motion as Edward gently reaches for her hand. Hesitant, unsure, she looks at him, and for a heartbeat, she doesn't pull away. Then she smiles, steps back, and says softly, "Good night, Edward." As she walks away, the camera focuses on Edward watching her, part of him smiling, part of him aching. The night wind catches her hair as she disappears into the crowd. The piano returns, soft, nostalgic, full of longing. Edward turns back toward the city lights, whispering to himself, "She's still the one." The camera pans out, revealing both of them. Vivian walking down the steps, Edward on the balcony above. Two lives once again crossing paths in the city that never forgot their story. The narration closes. Sometimes fate doesn't bring people together to start over, but to remind them what never ended. The screen fades to black, and soft text appears. Pretty Woman 2, Destiny Reunites Them. The story continues. The city sleeps under a silver moon. A slow, instrumental hum fills the air. Soft piano, gentle strings, the sound of reflection. The camera pans over Los Angeles. Quiet now, only the distant hum of traffic breaking the silence. Vivian stands alone in her apartment, staring out of the window, the same city lights flickering below. On her table lies the gala invitation, creased at the edges, but she keeps it close, as if afraid to let the memory fade. She takes a slow breath and picks up her phone. For a brief second, her thumb hovers over Edward's name in her contacts. Then she locks the screen, sets the phone down, and sighs. The years have made her wise, but they've also made her cautious. Love once changed her life, but it also hurt. And after decades of learning who she is, the thought of returning to something uncertain feels both thrilling and terrifying. The narration fades in, low and emotional. Time teaches us to move on, but the heart, it never truly learns. Sometimes the hardest decision isn't choosing between right and wrong, it's choosing between what feels safe and what feels alive. Cut to Edward's study. The glow of his desk lamp falls across papers and framed photos. Among them is a newspaper clipping from years ago. Edward Lewis leaves corporate empire to focus on charity. But beneath that headline lies a handwritten note, for the things that really matter. He stares at it, lost in thought. Edward has everything he could ever need, wealth, recognition, peace. But something is missing. For years, his life has been filled with meetings and causes, but never connection. The camera lingers on his hand as he pours himself a glass of wine. His gaze drifts to the window, the same city Vivian is looking at. He whispers quietly, almost to himself, maybe I was too proud, or maybe just too late. The next day, Edward attends a board meeting for his foundation. His assistant speaks, but he isn't listening. His mind keeps replaying that night at the gala. Her voice, her smile, the way she looked at him like time had stood still. He finally interrupts the meeting and says, I need to step out. The board members exchange glances as he leaves abruptly. Meanwhile, Vivian spends her day at the community center she runs. She helps a young woman fill out a college form, smiles as she talks about her future. Yet when the girl asks, did you ever have someone special? Vivian pauses, her eyes drifting for a second before she softly answers, yes, once. The scene transitions to a quiet cafe later that evening. Vivian sits by the window, flipping through a book. The rain begins to fall again. Gentle, steady, familiar. She smiles faintly, remembering another rainy night long ago. Then, through the reflection in the window, she sees him, Edward, standing outside, umbrella in hand, waiting. Her breath catches. She steps outside slowly, each footstep echoing like a heartbeat. He smiles, cautious but hopeful. Edward, I wasn't sure if you'd still like the rain. Vivian, smiling softly. It never really bothered me, except when I'm wearing heels. They both laugh, not the carefree laughter of youth, but the warm, knowing laughter of people who have lived and learned. The conversation turns tender as they sit together inside, talking about their lives, their regrets, their dreams. Edward tells her how he sold everything to fund causes that mattered. Schools, hospitals, charities. Vivian tells him how she built her foundation from nothing, inspired by what he once told her about believing in herself. There's admiration in their words, but also sadness. The lives they built separately are now too big, too complicated, to simply merge again. Vivian, you were the one who taught me how to dream, Edward. But now those dreams belong to me. I'm not the same woman waiting in a hotel suite anymore. Edward, and I wouldn't want you to be. You became everything I hoped you would. Silence stretches between them, full of love, pride, and pain. The truth is clear. They've both changed, but the feeling hasn't. The narration returns. Love doesn't always return the way it left. Sometimes it comes back to test you, to see if your heart can still open after years of being closed. The music deepens, a soft, emotional violin theme. Vivian looks down, struggling with her thoughts. Vivian, we're from two different worlds again, Edward. Not rich and poor this time, just different paths. Edward, maybe, but paths can cross again, can't they? She smiles sadly, stands up and whispers, sometimes they do, just to remind us why they had to separate. Then she walks toward the door, her reflection visible in the glass, strong, graceful, yet quietly breaking. Edward watches her leave, his eyes heavy with the weight of unspoken words. He whispers softly to himself, "Goodbye, Vivian." The camera lingers on her walking down the street, the rain glistening around her like tiny diamonds. The music swells, heartbreak mixed with hope. Narration fades in one last time. They found each other again, but life had taught them both. Love isn't always about holding on. Sometimes it's about being grateful that you ever met at all. The screen fades to black with a slow dissolve to the next chapter title. Pretty Woman 2, Destiny Reunites Them. The choice awaits. The sun rises over Los Angeles, bathing the city in golden light. The camera glides through the skyline, landing on Edward, standing at his balcony once again, the same place where he watched Vivian disappear weeks ago. He looks tired but peaceful, a man wrestling between acceptance and hope. In his hand, he holds a letter. Old-fashioned, handwritten, sealed with her name on it. He hasn't opened it yet. He's afraid of what it might say. The narration begins softly, filled with reflection. Love isn't always about who you lose. Sometimes it's about who you find again, even if only for a moment. Cut to Vivian, sitting by the ocean. The waves crash gently against the shore. She's wearing casual clothes, her hair tied back, her face calm but thoughtful. She takes a deep breath and looks out toward the horizon. The sea has always been her escape. Endless, unpredictable, beautiful. She closes her eyes, remembering Edward's voice, his laugh, the way he said her name. A montage plays, snippets of their past and present blending like a dream. The opera, the elevator, the laughter in the limousine, then the gala, the balcony, the cafe. Two timelines merging into one feeling, love, timeless, and true. Vivian opens her purse and takes out a small object, a silver necklace. It's the same one Edward once gave her, long ago. She runs her fingers across it, smiling faintly. Then she looks at her phone, hesitating for a long time before finally typing a message. The screen shows, "Meet me where it all began." Cut to Edward's phone lighting up. His eyes widen as he reads the message. A soft piano note rings out and he doesn't waste a second. The next shot shows him stepping into his car, the same determined energy he had decades ago returning to his face. The music builds, a remix of the Pretty Woman theme, softer and slower. Edward's car weaves through the traffic as the narration continues. When destiny calls, the heart doesn't hesitate. It remembers the way. Even after all these years, the camera cuts to Hollywood Boulevard. Vivian stands there, surrounded by tourists and flashing lights. The world has changed, but the street still carries the same magic. She looks around nervously, brushing a tear from her cheek. Then, through the crowd, she sees him. Edward walking toward her, older but still the same man who once climbed a fire escape for her. For a moment, the noise of the city fades. All that remains is the music and their eyes meeting once again. Edward, smiling. "I got your message." Vivian, "I figured you'd still know the way." Edward, "Always." He steps closer and the crowd seems to melt away. The chemistry between them is instant. Quiet, real, full of history. Vivian, "You shouldn't have come." Edward, "You knew I would." She laughs softly, shaking her head. "You never changed." He replies, "Neither did you. You just became more you." They stand in silence for a long time, the air filled with the sound of passing cars and faint music from a nearby cafe. Then Vivian looks up, her expression thoughtful. Vivian, "Edward, what if this is just another moment? Another goodbye?" Edward, "Then let it be the right kind. The kind where we don't regret what we didn't say." She looks at him, really looks at him, and for the first time in years, her eyes soften completely. The world seems to slow down as she takes his hand. The music swells. "Vivian, you came back for me once. I guess this time I had to find my own way back to you." He smiles, the same warm, grateful smile from their very first story. The camera circles them slowly, the city lights flickering behind like a dream. Narration fades in, emotional and poetic. Some stories never needed a perfect ending. They just needed another chance to begin again. The scene shifts. It was Vivian and Edward walking together down the boulevard, hand in hand, laughing quietly as the crowd passes by. The camera pulls back to show them from behind, two silhouettes against the glowing city. As the music reaches its final note, the screen fades into a soft montage. Vivian's laughter, Edward's smile, the night sky, and the words, "Pretty Woman 2, Destiny reunites them. Love always finds its way back." The final narration whispers, "Time changes faces, life changes hearts, but love, true love, never forgets its way home." The music slows to a gentle piano outro as the screen fades to black. Text appears in gold letters, a fan concept trailer. Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, Pretty Woman 2, Destiny reunites them, 2025. Then finally a simple message. If you believe in timeless love, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fan concept stories. Fade out.